3 powerful Stoic techniques for unbreakable emotional control. Have you ever felt like you're caught in a tornado? Not a real one, but a tornado of life, of deadlines, notifications, opinions, and expectations. A storm that leaves you feeling breathless, overwhelmed, and totally at the mercy of your own reactions. For weeks, that was my reality. I was living in a state of constant reaction, my mood hijacked by every email, every news headline, every minor setback. I felt fragile, and I just had enough. I was tired of being ruled by my emotions, of letting things outside of my control dictate my peace of mind. So, I turned to the past, to an ancient philosophy, born in the bustling markets of Athens. A philosophy used by everyone, from emperors to slaves, designed not for quiet libraries, but for the chaos of the real world. Stoicism. I decided to run a little experiment. For 1 full week, I would live by 3 specific, powerful Stoic techniques. No half measures. I wanted to see if this 2-0-year-old wisdom could really stand up to the pressures of our modern world. Could it give me back my mental discipline? Could it make me unbreakable? The results were more profound than I ever could have imagined. This experiment didn't just give me a few coping tools. It fundamentally rewired how I respond to stress, anxiety, and the frustrations of daily life. In this video, I'm going to share the exact 3 techniques I used, how I applied them, and how they led to a complete shift in my emotional resilience. This isn't just philosophy, it's a practical guide to taking back your own mind. The dichotomy of control, reclaiming your power. The first technique, and honestly, the foundation of my entire week, is probably the most famous idea in all of Stoicism, the dichotomy of control. It sounds fancy, but it's incredibly simple. The philosopher Epictetus laid it out perfectly. Some things are within our power, while others are not. That's it. That's the whole idea. Within our power are our own judgments, our choices, our actions, and how we decide to respond to things. Outside our power, pretty much everything else. The weather, the traffic, what other people think of you, whether your flight gets delayed, or if your boss is in a bad mood. The Stoics argued that most of our anxiety, anger, and frustration comes from a simple mistake, trying to control things we can't, while ignoring the one thing we can, our own response. So, for day 1 and day 2 of my experiment, this was my mantra. I wrote it on a sticky note and stuck it to my computer monitor. Is this within my control? My first test came quickly. Monday morning, I woke up to a blunt, critical email from a client. I felt that familiar heat rise in my chest. My heart started pounding. My mind immediately began drafting angry, defensive replies. I was spiraling into frustration over something that had already happened. The email was sent. The client's opinion was formed. It was external. It was, by definition, not in my control. So I paused. I took a breath. I looked at my sticky note. Is this within my control? The client's mood? Nope. The words they used? No. The email in my inbox? Already there. What was in my control? How I chose to see it. How I chose to respond. The actions I took next. Instead of letting my gut reaction take over, I made a conscious choice. I chose to see the email not as a personal attack, but as feedback, blunt feedback, sure, but feedback nonetheless. I chose to respond not with anger, but with professionalism. I focused only on what I could do, analyze the critique, see if any of it was valid, and draft a calm, solution-focused reply. And the result was incredible. The knot in my stomach loosened. The anger just melted away, replaced by a feeling of clarity and empowerment. By letting go of what I couldn't change, I had seized total control over the one thing that mattered: my own response. I wasn't a victim of my inbox. I was the director of my actions. Over the next 2 days, I used this for everything. Stuck in traffic? I couldn't control the sea of red taillights, but I could control my breath and what I listened to. A friend cancelled plans last minute. I couldn't control their decision, but I could control my attitude, choosing to enjoy the unexpected free time instead of getting resentful. This practice is so freeing because it stops you from wasting energy. As the Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, our peace of mind depends on our internal state, not on what happens around us. He knew that we aren't disturbed by events, but by our judgment about those events. So how can you apply this right now? It's a simple 2-step process. First, when you feel that wave of anger, anxiety, or frustration starting to build, just pause. Don't act. Don't react. Just give yourself a second. Second, ask yourself that powerful question: is the source of this feeling something I have direct and total control over? If the answer is no, then your energy is better spent elsewhere. Acknowledge it, accept it, and then pivot your entire focus to what you can control, your thoughts about it, and what you do next. It feels weird at first. We're taught to believe we should be able to force things to go our way, but that's a recipe for constant disappointment. True power lies not in commanding the world, but in commanding yourself. This isn't about not caring. It's about focusing your strength where it can actually make a difference inside your own mind. Negative visualization, the unexpected cure for anxiety. After 2 days with the dichotomy of control, I was feeling a new kind of calm. But the next technique was about facing the future, and it sounds a little strange, maybe even morbid: premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. Put simply, it's the practice of negative visualization. You intentionally take a few moments to imagine that things have gone wrong. You imagine losing things you care about: your job, your home, a relationship, maybe even your health. Now, your first reaction is probably, why would anyone do that? Isn't that just asking for anxiety? That's what I thought too. But the Stoics weren't pessimists, they were realists. The point of this is twofold, and it's brilliant. First, it prepares you for tough times, so if they happen, the shock doesn't break you. Second, it makes you incredibly grateful for what you have right now. The philosopher Seneca talked about this all the time. He said, what is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect. By mentally rehearsing misfortune, you soften the blow. If it ever happens, it doesn't feel so terrifying, because you've already walked that path in your mind. So, on day 3 and day 4, I added this to my morning routine. Before checking my phone, I just sat in silence for 5 minutes. It was uncomfortable. I started small, imagining my workday. What could go wrong? My internet cuts out during a huge deadline. I get harsh feedback on a project I worked hard on. A key meeting gets cancelled, messing up my whole day. Then, I did what the Stoics advised. For each scenario, I thought about how I would handle it with courage and calm. If the internet died, what's my plan B? If I get criticized, how can I use the dichotomy of control to respond with reason, not emotion? This isn't about dwelling on the negative. It's about strategic planning for resilience. But then came the second, and more powerful, part. After picturing these things going wrong, I'd open my eyes and look around. I'd see my laptop, working just fine. I'd think about my job, which was secure, my health, which was good, And the feeling was this overwhelming wave of gratitude. By imagining losing these things, their value shot through the roof. The coffee I was about to drink tasted better. The quiet morning felt like a gift. I wasn't taking anything for granted. This practice is the perfect antidote to something called hedonic adaptation, that human tendency to get used to things. You get a raise or a new car, and you're happy for a little while, but soon enough, it's just normal. Negative visualization is a way to manually reset that. It stops you from becoming numb to the good in your life. On day 4, I took it a little further. I thought about bigger things, like losing a close friendship or having to move away from my home. The goal wasn't to get depressed. It was to soften the fear of loss and appreciate those things more deeply right now. It really puts your daily anxieties into perspective. Is that embarrassing thing you said in a meeting really going to matter when you contrast it with genuine loss? Probably not. You can try this easily. Each morning, just for a few minutes, pick one thing you value. Briefly and vividly, imagine it's gone. Let yourself feel that for a second. Then, think about how you could endure, how you could still act with character. Finally, open your eyes and come back to the present, to the reality that you do still have that thing. And just let that feeling of gratitude sink in. It's not about expecting the worst. It's about being prepared for it while deeply appreciating the best that is happening right now. It builds mental toughness the same way exercise builds physical strength. After 2 days of this, the little daily annoyances that used to get under my skin felt almost silly. I had already rehearsed bigger battles in my mind, so the small daily fights lost their power to hurt me. Gratitude. Journaling. The art of finding perspective. The first 2 techniques were like a shield and a sword for the mind. The dichotomy of control was the shield, deflecting things I couldn't control. Negative visualization was the sword, cutting through anxiety. But this third technique, which I practiced for the final 3 days, is what tied it all together. It's a practice that might sound almost cliché today, but the Stoic angle makes it incredibly powerful. Gratitude through journaling. The Stoics might not have called it a gratitude journal, but the idea is all over their writings, especially in Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. He was constantly reminding himself to reflect on the good in his life. For the Stoics, gratitude isn't just a fuzzy feeling. It's a disciplined, logical exercise in perspective. It's the active cure for envy, resentment, and the feeling that you never have enough. So, for day 5, 6, and 7, my mission was to end each day not by scrolling on my phone, but by sitting with a simple notebook. Before bed, I would write down 3 things I was genuinely grateful for that day. The first night, it felt a little forced. I wrote down the big stuff: my health, my family, my home. It was nice, but it didn't feel like a breakthrough. But I stuck with it. The key is to be specific. Don't just write my family. Write about that one funny text message you got from your sister. Don't just write my job. Write about that one small moment where you felt like you really helped someone. So on day 6, I tried again, with more focus. 1. I wrote about the morning sun hitting my desk in a way that made me feel calm. 2. I wrote about a stranger holding a door for me when my hands were full, a tiny moment of human kindness. 3. And this is where it clicked. I wrote that I was grateful not for a problem that came up, but for my ability to handle it with reason, a power no one could ever take from me. Stoic gratitude isn't just about appreciating external things, which can disappear. It's about appreciating your own inner strength, your character, and your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. That is a form of gratitude that is completely unshakable. By day 7, This little ritual had become my sanctuary. It completely changed the story of my day. So often, we let our day be defined by the one or two things that went wrong. The gratitude journal forces you to change your focus. It makes you scan your day for the good things, no matter how small. And what you focus on grows. By actively looking for the good, I started noticing more of it all day long. This practice perfectly bookends a day that starts with negative visualization. You start the day appreciating what you have by imagining its loss, and you end the day appreciating what you have by writing it down. Starting this is the easiest thing in the world. Get a notebook. Every evening, write down 3 to 5 specific things you're grateful for. Think about these questions. What was a simple pleasure I enjoyed today? Who showed me kindness today? What was one challenge I faced, and what strength did I use to meet it? What is something I have now that I once wished for? Doing this consistently rewires your brain. It trains you to see abundance instead of lack. You start to realize that you already have everything you truly need for a good life. A mind that can reason, a character you can build, and the choice to appreciate this very moment. A grateful mind is a mind that cannot easily be disturbed. Conclusion. So, after 1 week of living like a modern Stoic, what actually changed? It's no exaggeration to say, I feel like a different person. That feeling of being overwhelmed, of being a feather in the wind, has been replaced by a quiet, solid sense of control. Not control over the world, but control over myself. The dichotomy of control taught me to stop fighting battles I could never win and to put my energy where it counts. Negative visualization softened my fear of the future while making me deeply appreciate the present. And gratitude journaling rewired my perspective, training me to end each day focused not on what was missing, but on the good that was already there. These aren't just neat ideas, they are practical tools. They are a training system for your mind, and just like any training, they work when you practice them consistently. Emotional strength isn't something you're born with, it's something you build day by day. The Stoics gave us the blueprint 2,000 years ago, and it's more relevant now than ever. The tornado of modern life isn't going to stop spinning. The emails, the deadlines, and the unexpected challenges will keep coming. But now, I know I don't have to be swept up in it. I can stand in the eye of the storm calm, grounded, and in control. And so can you. Call to action. If any of this resonated with you, and if you're ready to start building a stronger mind, this is just the beginning. If you found value in this video, please give it a like. It really does help the channel reach more people who might need this message. And for more practical guides on living a stronger, better life, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now I have a question for you. Which of these 3 techniques are you going to try first? The dichotomy of control, negative visualization, or gratitude journaling? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your own experiments. Thanks for watching. Remember, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.